Well, thank you so much for doing this with us.
Of course.
I know all the Chief Nerds are really excited to be doing this with you.
Yes.
And thank you for making time in your day
Of
to
course.
talk to me. I appreciate it.
Of course.
Speaking of Love Thy Nerds community, can you tell me about the community that is MiscatSquad?
Of course.
Am I saying that right?
Yes, you are.
Okay.
Well, MiscatSquad's basically, I started it because I felt like I was always like that misfit, like that was left out in school, and then I was homeschooled, and I didn't really have that many friends. So basically I wanted to start a community that kind of like united people that felt like they were like freaks and geeks and misfits, and they were kind of like left out. And the meaning of MiscatSquad, basically, if you see like the miss, that's like misfit, and then cat, because, well, cat's my name, but also because, you know, cats are cool.
Yes.
But I always felt like, especially in, you know, it's about like geekiness and video games, especially in these communities, there's so many communities out there that just focus on like nerdom and just geekiness, but I wanted to do something different because even in the geeky fandoms, you'll notice that there's like misfits out there that are left out of discussions because, you know, there's arguments and they feel like, oh, I can't have an opinion. So I wanted to basically create a community that anyone out there, misfit or popular kid or whatever, could just come together and just, you know, enjoy being a geek, being a nerd, and just like loving games like God of War and Detroit Become Human, or like comics like Marvel or DC, and they could just, you know, come together, hang out, and not judge each other no matter what. So that's basically how I really started it.
Awesome. So when you were starting out, you wrote some pieces. One that you did for Forever Geek said, we focus on all-age content where kids, teens, and adults come from all over the world to show off what types of fans they are by embracing their inner fangirl and fanboy every single day, as our slogan states. Have you found that in talking to people that everyone has some small or giant part of themselves that's seated in fandom?
Absolutely, because the thing is, it's like, no matter what age you really are, like let's say you're 10 years old or you're 30 years old, age and generation shouldn't matter when it comes to, like, you know, embracing your inner fangirl and fanboy every single day. It's all about discussing a character. So a perfect example of this is the fandom Voltron Legendary Defender. It's a huge thing on Netflix and DreamWorks. Kids love it. Teens love it. Adults love it. But there was a lot of like controversy in that fandom where basically people were like, oh, you're too young to watch this, or oh, you're too old to like this, and people would just like attack each other online, like when they were like really young or really old. So basically what I want to do is what I see in like nerdom is like, it shouldn't matter who you are, what you look like, what you believe in, or how old you are, because if you love a series, you should all come together and just enjoy it together. Like, it shouldn't be about, like, the whole thing with how generations are, when generations end up, like, attacking each other and, like, saying, oh, my generation is better than your generation because we have this. It's like, in nerdom, I've noticed, like, when you go to Comic-Con or you go to any conventions out there, it's a different, peaceful experience because everyone is there to enjoy something. Everyone's there for a reason. It's not like, oh, I'm going to be on Twitter and I'm going to be like hate-shaming your post because you're this age. It's like, no, we got cosplayers that are out there, and every single person has a place within a fandom, no matter how young or how old.
Awesome. Thank you. Why do you think, like you talked about with the Comic-Cons, why do you think that nerd culture is unifying in that aspect, even as, like, we all like different things, but we can all come together as nerds? Why do you think that is?
I think it's because, like, we can kind of relate to every single character. Like, let's say Spider-Man. So many people from around the world can relate to him, and, like, you know, Peter Parker, because it's like, wow, he has, like, his guilty conscience, or wow, he's fighting to save the day, or what I say, you don't have to be a hero if you wear a mask. You could be an ordinary hero every single day. And basically, if people can, it's basically based on the characters, you know, that's my opinion, where it's like, if you love a character so much, you can relate to them. And I think it's like, no matter how diverse we are, we push aside everything that we are to love this character, to love a fandom, and make that type of representation. Because it doesn't matter, like, in my opinion, it does, again, what I said about generations, it doesn't matter about generation, it doesn't matter about culture, it doesn't matter about this or that. What matters is you are like loving a character, you are loving a series, and you are basically saying like, wow, I love Spider-Man because of this, or wow, I love Batman because of that. And I think it's basically because these characters teach us to accept one another. It should never be about like, wow, you're different from me, I shouldn't like you. It's like, no, if you love a fandom and you love a character so much, you should feel as if you're friends. Like, it should always be about what the characters teach us. And people always say it's just about like fandoms or this or that, but no, in my opinion, I think it's all about how the characters are and how they bring us about, how they can bring us out of our shoes and be like, wow, I could cosplay as Spider-Man, and then this person's like, I'm Batman, and it's like, wow, there's Marvel and DC right there, but then they still have respect with each other.
Okay. I've been creeping on your Discord and your YouTube channel for a while.
Awesome.
To do research for this. Sorry. So, you mentioned in your Spyro Reignited trailer reaction video that the Spyro games really helped you growing up. If you feel comfortable, can you talk about that a little bit?
Oh, definitely, because, okay, so Spyro was, like, my first ever video game, and I didn't really have any friends growing up, and I remember when I had to be, like, my mom was doing some, like, jobs and everything, and I had to go to my next-door neighbor, and her older daughter had a PlayStation. So I was like, oh, can I play this? Because I've never played a video game before. I sat down, and it was Spyro 3, which is funny. I started with Spyro 3 in the series, and it was when Spyro was, like skateboarding and everything. That was my first ever video game scene. I sit down, and I play it, and I felt like I had friends. Like, you know, like, people have to realize with video games, they can really make a huge impact on you. And it's like, someone who like went through abuse when she was young and also was bullied when she was young, I didn't have anything to really like rely on or have an escape. And what I always say is video games are our escape. Because for me, my dream is to really become a voice actress. I'm an aspiring voice actress. And Spyro allowed me to do like the voices of the characters, to really like go into the characters and be like, wow, I'm doing this character's voice even though they're not talking right now. And when I was young, it was funny because I never even like knew it was voice acting. I called it something else. It was like pretend. I'm trying to remember what I called it, but it was basically just me playing pretend with these characters and being like, wow, okay, I'm hanging out with Spyro right now. Wow, there's Hunter and Sparks and Bianca. And it's like, Spyro taught me courage, and like, he taught me how to have friends. And even now, when I hear that the Reignited trilogy is coming, I was ballistically crying, because, again, when I had that reaction to that trailer, I had the worst day that day. And then somebody tweeted to me, like, Kat, oh my god, look, it's actually happening. I ran upstairs, filmed my reaction, and was hysterical because Spyro is back, you know, like, he was my hero. And people have to realize, like, especially for young kids, these video game characters, especially for kids that go through abuse, it's like they need to have that courage. They need to be taught that you can be brave. And there's like the whole, there's a controversy that people say that, you know, video games cause violence in kids. It's like, that's not the fact at all. Video games can save people's lives because these characters are always there for you. If you don't have friends, these characters can be your friends to make you a better person because you learn about yourself through them. You really do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you have a favorite character, by the way?
Favorite character. Last year, Night in the Woods was
gosh,
was my game of the year for last year.
Yes.
I played it through like 3 times.
Who's your favorite?
Germ Warfare.
Yes.
is my favorite just because he's so like, he's not one of the main bunch, but he's so like awkward, so like painfully so.
Yep.
Even
so
among
relatable.
The people who are already outcast. Yeah, and so I was like, oh my god, it's me.
That's you. But see, it's great because you can see like the characters. You can see yourself in these characters, and when you do, it's like you just want to adopt them. Like that's another thing that MiscatSquad is all about. You just want to adopt characters and like be like, I want to protect them all the time.
Yes, this is my persona. Yeah,
exactly.
Absolutely. Yeah. So you've kind of already answered this one, but can you talk about the power that nerdy things have to make our lives better and even to make us better humans?
Oh, definitely. Like, a great game is Detroit Become Human because they teach you such, like, amazing lessons. And one of those lessons is definitely, like, how to be, like, another thing is to be brave, obviously, because they're running away and everything, and they're trying to, like,
Sure.
be free. But it's basically how video games and everything, they teach us morals and lessons that I always say that it's about humbleness and heart that a lot of video games have, because it's a team. Like, sometimes you have thousands of people working on a video game. It's not like with books and movies and this and that. Like, there's a bunch of people working on that. But with video games, you have cinematography, you have the writers, the directors, the producers, this and that, the artists. So everything that goes into building video games, it's so humble because it's like a family. And it kind of teaches even creators, like even like book writers and this and that, people who judge video games, they have to realize that it's about the humbleness in the heart. It teaches you humbleness because it kind of shows us that, wow, this is a team working on it. It's not just one person. It's a huge team. And it shows us that we as human beings can work as like this like synergistic union here to be like, we're this force creating something, you know? We're not just like book writers are just like an editor, a writer, an agent, a publisher. But with video games, and especially with like anything that has to do within this geeky fandom, you'll notice that it takes a team. And like, if you notice, like for the past few years, geekiness and nerdom has been so much more accepted. Same with like Dungeons and Dragons and this and that. Like, so much has been accepted nowadays than it was a few days ago. Yeah, it's basically becoming mainstream now. Because you'll even see like people are starting to bring like comics more into the classroom. Some people are even bringing video games into the classroom, and it's really good to see because, you know, years ago it was shunned. It was like, no, Pokemon is evil. Oh my god. But now it's like, wow, let's bring like comics and manga and anime and like all this stuff into the classroom because you can like learn about different cultures that way, and you can also learn about like how this character dealt with this heavy subject, like in God of War. Like, kids could, like, play God of War with their parents and see themselves in Atreus. You know, like, what he was having those, you know, he had, like, a huge fit, and he was all like, I'm a god now, I could do whatever I want. So, it really, like, you know, over the years, it's great to see that it's changed. It is so, it's really a blessing to see that how much it's changed, because we as those nerds and those geeks and everything, we were kind of judged for all those years, but we made it happen. We made this become mainstream.
Yep, absolutely. We quit feeling like we had to hide.
Exactly. That's the thing. We kept feeling we were underground, and we were all like, we're the misfits of the world. And like, it was sad because I remember how if people brought, like, anime characters to school, or, like, they were reading manga, or saying, like, wow, I'm gonna watch Pokemon, they were judged, you know? People were like, oh, what is wrong with you? Why are you gonna watch it? But now it's, like, you have, like, Forever 21 having all these, like, t-shirt designs with anime characters on it, and a lot of kids are like, wow, we're gonna watch anime on Netflix now. So it's really good to say. It's so great to say.
Yeah, it's made it a lot more accessible.
Exactly. We had to go through a lot. Like, we had to go through the struggle, but we made it possible for the younger generations to be accepted.
Yep. And that's leave it better than we found it, right?
Exactly.
So, on your YouTube channel, you have a lot of Let's Plays and discussions of a wide range of games.
Yes.
And other kind of geeky content as well. How do you reconcile some of the content in those games with your all ages focus? For example, like, I love Lucas the Spider, and I would feel totally comfortable watching Lucas the Spider with my 4-year-old nephew. But,
yes.
As much as I love Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared, I could never watch that with my 4-year-old nephew.
Exactly. So. Well, this is the thing. Like, MiscatSquad's all ages, so it could be ranges from 0 to 100. That's basically how our brand is. But I think, like, a lot of topics are very important to discuss, so even if, like, a kid does stumble upon a video, like, Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared, I'm always sure to have, like, some kind of disclaimer to be like, okay, this is gonna be scary, because, like, you should watch this with an adult or something. But I think that what I usually like to do is have very, like, important topics. Like, some kids really need to hear certain things, like, with Life is Strange, a lot of kids do play that game. And what I like to do is, like, I don't curse at all. If I do, I beep it out. Because I feel like there's so many streamers out there that feel like they have to curse all the time. And they always forget that there are kids on YouTube. YouTube is becoming TV. There's so many articles out there that basically say in the next few years, YouTube's going to take over. You know, it's going to be like how Netflix is. So I think it's really important. Like, even if you have an adult audience, you should be able to, like, beep certain things out, because even if it's, like, an adult game, like God of War or The Last of Us, it's important to make sure if a kid does stumble upon this, that you should really, you know, take that into consideration. But some topics that I do discuss, I make sure that it's, like, safe for kids and teens and adults, because some topics like mental health and everything with Life is Strange, they really need to hear that. They really need to hear that. And one of the things that people are pointing out that they enjoy how I get emotional about things, and I get really emotional about video games, is because you're playing as this character, you know, and you're living in their shoes. Like, you're not just, you know, reading a book or watching a movie. You're actually controlling this character. So you feel like you are them. And I think when kids play these games, it's really important for them to see, like Life is Strange. There's a lot of heavy topics, like suicide in that game. And it's important for them to learn about that, because if they don't learn about it when they're young, they're going to learn about it when they're older. And I think it's really important to discuss this with them, because especially in schools, I'm always saying, like, Life is Strange should be a game that goes into schools, especially high school, because there's, you know, people with drug abuse or, again, mental health or suicide or this and that. It's important for them to actually play as these characters, to learn about preventance, to learn about how to prevent this from happening.
Sorry, you don't get time powers, kids, but
I know
you can be a good friend.
But the thing is with Life is Strange, at that scene with Max and Kate, you know, the thing is like she didn't have her.
Yep.
So it's like that's why it got real. That is when the
Yeah.
series got real for me, because I was like, wow, you can't. It's just like real life. You don't have powers. It's either you prevent it or you don't.
Yep, absolutely. Yep. And that is important.
Yep.
So you've talked a lot about stuff that's important for people to be able to discuss. One of the things that's important to us at Love Thy Nerd is faith.
Yes.
Is faith a part of your life?
Absolutely.
And
my grandfather actually wanted to be a priest. And he told me everything. I'm Catholic myself, and it is so important to me. And I've brought it within MiscatSquad because I want people to realize that even in video games, they teach us, like, they may not say things about faith here and there, but there's a lot of morals that were taken from, let's say, like, the Bible or this and that. You'll notice that it like with faith, it's so important to have, no matter what type of, like, religion that you do have, because it makes you stronger. And everything that I went through in my life, I've always fell back on faith, because I kind of, like, am thankful for the struggles that I went for, because it really made me stronger. It made me stronger as a human being, and it made me be able to do what I'm doing today. Because years ago, I wouldn't be able to go on camera. I wouldn't be able to have a YouTube channel because I was so afraid. But then through my faith and through my struggles, and like you know, like it says, like, perseverance builds characters, and it made me a very stronger person. So I always like to say to people, like, always have faith, because it's so important. It shapes your life, and it makes you feel as if, like, you're like a superhero in a way, you know? It gives me superpowers in a sense, because it's like I know that God's love is very important, and that he wills certain things to be, because he knows that, you know, you can handle this. Like, he knows what we can handle as human beings, you know? He knows exactly what we can handle and, like, what we can't. So he puts us through these things to test us, to make us stronger, and he shapes us in who he wants us to be. So yes, absolutely.
And that's a really positive outlook to have after going through so much difficulty.
Absolutely.
Because I know a lot of people turn away from faith at that point.
Yep.
So
and one of the best lessons I've ever
learned
learned was from my grandfather. And before he passed away, he told me that he said 2 words, and those 2 words were patience, kid. I am the world's most impatient person. You can ask my team. I am so impatient. It's not even funny. But whenever I hear those words in my head, I just remember when I was riding home from church with him in the car, we stopped at a stoplight, and I was like, Pop, why is nothing really working out with me in life? Like, why are we struggling so much? And he just turned to me and he said, patience, kid. And I will never forget that day, because that is the greatest lesson that he ever taught me.
Yeah, that's wonderful. That's good advice.
Yeah.
You've talked about this a little bit, kind of with like acceptance and inclusion, but do you find any other overlaps in your faith values and what you're trying to do with MiscatSquad?
Yeah, I feel as if with overall faith and everything, I just want to make sure that everybody out there knows that they should never give up on themselves. Like, they should always feel, no matter if they have faith in God or their own religion, or they have faith in just themselves, or have faith in a fandom, you have to at least have faith in something. And I want to always tell that to people within the squad and the channel, because if you feel like it's like you want to commit suicide, and this is a heavy topic to talk about, because there's been, like, in MiscatSquad, we actually have a support group where people talk, and we also give them, like emergency hotlines if they need to call and everything. In our Discord, we have that support group, and we've heard a lot of stories from people that, like, they want to take their lives, and it's really upsetting, because to reach that level, to really reach that level, it upsets me. And I always say to people, and, like, not only just, like, especially, like, in the game Beyond Two Souls, there's a lot of heavy, like, references to that game about mental health, too. And I stop and I put down the controller and I'm like, look, like, if you're struggling with something, there is help. You are never alone. There's always somebody out there who can help you. And what I want people to start realizing is just that. Like, you're not alone in this world. Even if you have to talk to somebody online or a counselor, it's like, just talk to somebody. Don't keep your problems within yourself. Go out there and talk to somebody, and you will get better. Have faith in that. Have faith in yourself that things will get better, and in time it will. And that's, like, one of the most important messages that I want to actually tell people, because not enough of people say that on YouTube. It's either they're flexing with their Teslas, or they're doing pranks and they're showing off. But no, with MiscatSquad, I want to make sure that people realize that they are not alone in the world.
Yeah, understand their value.
Yeah. Yep. Even within Nerdum, you'll notice, like, there's, like, the cosplayers, and then there's, like, within that, there's the gamers, there's the the role players, this and that. So it's great to see that there is, like, another community that kind of separates them, but at the same time represents all of them.
Because even if you're saying, well, nobody just reads manga.
Exactly.
Almost everybody will do, like, 3 or 4 things.
Exactly.
That would fall into Nerdum. So to have it all compartmentalized is kind of silly.
Yep. Yeah, because it's great, because, like, you'll notice, like, even with, like, conventions and everything, it's like some people just do about anime or just do about manga. It's like, yeah, but manga fans could be playing, like, Dungeons and Dragons, or they could be playing video games, so it's great to, like, include everybody without excluding anyone.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like, I'm going to a board game convention in
the
end of November, and on one of the Facebook pages for the convention, people are talking about what they're going to cosplay, and they're not cosplaying board gaming characters. Yeah. They're just going to cosplay whoever they want, because any time you're with your fellow nerds, you want to, fly all your flags.
Exactly. Like, I do this, I do that.
Absolutely. Yeah. What kind of things would you like to see MiscatSquad doing in the future?
Definitely, I would love to start doing, especially when we, like, hopefully, which I do know will happen when we hit, like, more like 1 million, definitely start doing tours and panels just to spread, like, the positivity that MiscatSquad is building. And I would definitely love to start doing more charity work and, like, charity live streams per week. And because I think that doing charity work and giving back to a community is so important, because if that community gives to you, you should always give back to that community, especially people who are in need of it. So panels, I would definitely love to start doing, because there's a lot of people on MiscatSquad who ask questions, and I would love to have, like, a really, like, very huge type of discussion about certain things, which I can't really do within a video, because, like, a lot of times it has to be, like, edited and this and that. Yeah. But if it were on a live panel, people would be able to ask freely whatever they wanted. Definitely another thing is, for me personally, is I want to do more voice acting and bring that more into the channel to also support like fellow voice actors and like just support overall. Just I want to like basically for MiscatSquad is I want to bring talents onto the team because I've noticed that some people who feel like they're misfits that they can't shine. You know, that they feel as if like, oh, I'm left out, I can't do this. Even though they have great talent in like the arts or writing, I want to be able to bring that to the team and be like, wow, you know, you guys can shine here. Like, I want to give them that type of light. So another thing is I definitely, we're working on a very important project, which I will reveal here. We're going to be having a website soon called All Ages of Geek, which is going to be all about what MiscatSquad is all about. And we have hinted at All Ages of Geek before, but we're definitely going to have a website and, you know, have a lot of fun things on there. And we're working on a lot of great things, which we will definitely get Love Thy Nerd involved with.
I'm excited.
Yep. Yeah, it's coming along pretty neat. And we're hoping probably 2020 to do a huge launch. Around the time when we hit like 100K, we're going to think. But yeah, like 2020, we're thinking to do like a huge launch for it. So you got to get all your ducks in a row first.
Sure. Other than our website that's coming up, where else can people find you on the internet?
Just definitely youtube.com/MiscatSquad and Twitter, which is MiscatSquad, Instagram, which is MiscatSquad, my personal Twitter, which is Katya Stec VA, which is for voice acting. We have a Reddit, which is Reddit/Miscat.
What about your Discord? Is that open to
that's
everyone,
open. Yeah, that is open to anybody. And we have rules there. Make sure you read the rules and everything. But yeah, it's open to everybody and anyone, whoever wants to go there. If they're having a bad day, we have a support group. And yeah, I mean, it's open for anyone around the world, wherever you are. We don't judge. We don't want you guys to judge. We just want everyone to be accepted and, you know, nerd out about everything.
Yeah, I was talking to somebody there, and I said good morning, and they're like, "What are you talking about? It's 4 p.m." And they're over in Europe, and I was like, "Oh, sorry."
Yeah, it's crazy because sometimes like you have friends and the time zones are crazy. Like I had like one of my team members is from the Philippines, and it is 12-hour difference. Yeah. 12-hour difference. Like, a lot of my team members are from all over the place. Like, we have somebody from Egypt. We have somebody, a lot of people from Canada, people from the UK. But the Philippines, it's so hard to work with each other because it's a 12-hour difference. So it's great. It's funny, but it's great to see how diverse MiscatSquad is. How it really is. Yeah. So, yeah, that's where you can find me. Yay! Yay! And where can I find you guys? Like, I want to start supporting Love Thy Nerd on MiscatSquad much more.
Awesome. Forgive me, I have a really loud keyboard. It's okay. So you can find us at, our website is lovethynerd.com. On Facebook, you can follow the page Love Thy Nerd, but there's also Love Thy Nerd community if you want to participate and talk with our other community members. Love Thy Nerd is on Twitter. Well, thank you so much for talking with me. I really appreciate it. Is there anything else you have that you want to add or include?
Just that you guys are awesome, stay awesome, and keep spreading the love.
Thank you. Thank you.